This is the GTN Show. Welcome. And can you believe it? It is show number 50. So to celebrate, we thought we'd hire out a luxury yacht. Sadly not. We're actually on a pontoon in a flooded quarry. Well, it's not purely because it's our 50th show that we've come out here. It's actually because we are in the middle of GTN Swim Week. So I apologise for the slight movement here, but we are on the water. We're staying all things swimming themed, but on top of that in this show, we've got some giveaway winners to announce. We have a new giveaway. We've also got hot or not, race news and more.
Welcome to the GTN Show.
Well, sticking with the swimming theme, I thought I would tell you a little bit about my swimming race that I did on the weekend. I mean, Mark's not here, so I can boast slightly. I got a little silver medal for my first ever open water swimming event. But it was 5K, the furthest I've ever swam as well. So I think personally I should get a badge for that. But it got me thinking a little bit because for this event, the water now in the Northern Hemisphere is quite warm, even warm enough in the UK for this to be an optional whether you swam in a wetsuit or a skin suit. And when I entered, I was like, oh, I'll decide on the day. So I actually applied to swim in a Swimskin and leave my wetsuit because I thought I'd have no rubs if I'm swimming a longer distance. And I didn't really think more about it, but when it came to Sunday morning, you know, it's a bit chilly. I put my toe in the water and it's a bit cold. And I thought, oh, actually, I'm going to wear my wetsuit. Plus, it's 5K. I've never swam that far. I'm not swimming very much at the moment. So then I was like, well, it'll help me float. Don't need to worry about using my legs so much. So I opted for the wetsuit and I found it much easier than I expected. The 5K went fairly quickly. And it wasn't until I went to get the results that I was stood in my wetsuit and the result organisers were like, you've just confused things massively because apparently I'd actually applied for my Swimskin, which meant I had to swim in a Swimskin. And obviously it is supposed to be much faster in a wetsuit. So this got me thinking, should we have set rules or should there be the option of whether you swim in a wetsuit or a Swimskin when it gets warm enough? Now, I want to ask you in the poll this week, if you think we should have internationally a set temperature, irrelevant of who the organiser is, of what the event is, of what the distance is. There should be one set temperature for age groupers and pros at which it's either a wetsuit swim or a non-wetsuit swim. So let me know in the link in the poll just above my head. And let's have a quick look at the results from last week's poll. We were going a little tech-wise last week when Mark was here, and we asked if you ever train without tech. And the results are in. Just 36% of you said yes, and 63% said no, never. Now, actually, I think I occasionally train without tech, but then whether that counts as training or just going for a fun run, I don't know. I'm on the borderline with that one, but interesting results. Right, on to the news. And to start us off, we have an announcement from Ironman on their quest for Kona athletes. Now, last year, they made a film in the autumn following a few athletes on their journey to get to the World Championships in Hawaii. Well, they have just announced that they're going to be following 11 athletes in their attempt to qualify, looking at their training, their trials and tribulations, and they're going to be putting this out in the fall after the World Championships. Well, included in this lineup of 11 athletes, they've got a mixture of pros, age groupers, and celebrities. One of the pros is Sarah True, an Olympian. She finished 4th at the Olympics and actually talked openly about suffering with depression. Well, she's now going for her first Ironman World Championships. Also, the likes of Andrew Talansky, who's come from being a former pro cyclist, trying to qualify for Kona. Also, Chuck Wicks, the country music star from Nashville. Then there's a French model. There's also an age group athlete who's going to have competed 12 Ironmans, so one of the legacy athletes. Another athlete who's an arm amputee. So it's going to be interesting to see their journey. Right, some news from the IOC. They have just announced the dates for the triathlon in Tokyo 2020. It might seem miles away, but it's actually 2 years just about now because the women's race is going to be on Monday, the 27th of July. The men's individual race is going to be on Tuesday, the 28th. And then Saturday, the 1st of August, we'll see the inaugural team mixed relay. It's actually going to be an Olympic distance for the individual and then the standard relay distance for that very first medal event for triathlon on the Saturday. Now time for hot or not. And we're going to be delving straight in with an announcement from Daniela Reef. She has just put out her racing schedule for the rest of the year on that road to Kona. Her first event is going to be the 5150 Zurich this weekend coming. She's then racing Gdynia 70.3 in Poland, which is the first weekend of August, with a build-up to the Ironman 70.3 World Championships, which are going to be the first weekend of September in South Africa, and then obviously Kona. But to make this announcement even more exciting, we have Mirinda Carfree, who has just announced her race schedule, and she's also going to be racing in Gdynia, the 70.3. So we're going to see the two world champions, well, former world champion from Kona with the current world champion from Kona going head to head. Well, I think that is definitely a hot. Sticking with announcements from athletes, this next one is from Flora Duffy, and she's frustratingly had to pull out from the upcoming WTS series in Edmonton because of this foot injury, and she now admits to the fact that she shouldn't have raced in Hamburg the week before. She raced with a niggling foot problem that apparently got exacerbated and it hurt every step of the run, and she did that basically because she wanted to try and keep that hope of becoming world champion for the third year in a row, and it's all about the series points, and now she admits she's out of the running. She doesn't even have a chance to podium when it comes to the World Championships in the Gold Coast in Australia, but it's very much about sorting this injury out now and getting it sorted. So we wish her all the best with recovering from that injury, and it is a not. Right, next is the result of a poll from Ironman on Facebook, where they asked the community who they thought were the greatest ever triathletes from Germany. Now, it's probably not a big surprise that the Olympic champion and Kona world champion Jan Frodeno was voted out and out the best male, and it was Daniela Samler who was voted the best female triathlete from Germany. And I think any recognition for the sport, it's a hot. This next piece is as a result of someone who is very observant on Strava. It was after the San Diego International Triathlon that Anita Carson was caught cheating. Now, apparently, her Strava showed that she only cycled 19k of the 28k of the bike course. And when she was confronted about this, she apparently first denied it and then said that it wasn't true. Now, the actual organisers disqualified her from the race, and she had a backlash against this, and then apparently even tried to change some of her details on Strava and her Garmin Connect as a result. Well, you know where this one's going. It's a not. Right, we have some giveaway winners. Now, you might remember a couple of weeks ago, we were giving away 5 sets of the Continental Attack and Force tyres. And the winners are, cue drum roll, we have Brian Tan, Travis Booth, Brian Varge, Joshua Rasmussen and Steve Knowles. Well, we will be in touch and we'll be sending those tyres to you shortly. Well, we actually have another giveaway this week. This one comes from Facebook, where we had a competition to win the fan kit jersey, and it is just one winner. It goes to Chris Slinney from the US. Now, if you like the look of this jersey and want to get your hands on one yourself and you're not quite as lucky as Chris, well, you can follow the link in the description below or wait till the end of the show and we'll pop a link up there so you can get your hands on your very own jersey. Well, if you're feeling a little envious after seeing all of those giveaway winners, don't worry, because we have another giveaway this week. We have 5 pairs of these Continental Grand Prix TT tyres. Now, they've got the slick centre section that reduces friction, so you can save some seconds there and you're racing. Then there's the rough edge on the outer side, which will help with grippage, especially on those rougher roads. You've got the black chili compound, which makes for a lesser rolling resistance while still giving you grip. And they do have puncture protection as well. So basically your go-to race clincher tyre. Now, you're probably wanting to know, how do I get my hands on a pair of these? Well, all you have to do is follow the link in the description below for your chance to win your very own set. Let's move on to the race news. And we're going to start with Ironman Lake Placid, which actually was only a female pro race. And this is because they alternate from the men and the women year on, year off. So it was 2016 that saw the last women's race, and it was Heather Jackson who won back then, and she was back to defend that title. She came out of the swim with just a few seconds lead, but then opened that gap up a little bit more on the bike to make for a comfortable margin going on to the run. So with the fastest swim of the day, the fastest bike of the day, second fastest run, gave her the overall win to defend that title, although she was actually 9 minutes off her course record from 2 years ago. But I don't think she's going to be too concerned. It was Jen Annette who came home in second, 14 minutes behind Jackson, and then another 10 minutes back, it was Sarah Piampiano in third. Last weekend marked the opening race for the Major League Triathlon Series. Now, this is a league based purely in America, but it attracts top international athletes. There are 9 teams with 4 athletes, so 2 men, 2 women. It follows the team mixed relay format, and it's over 4 separate cities on 4 separate weekends. This first one was in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and it looked like it was going to be very tight between the Carolina Gliders and the Gold Coast Tritons. It was Tommy Zaferes up against Ryan Fisher on that final leg, but apparently Ryan Fisher had a fall on the bike, which gave Zaferes that gap to open up, and it meant that the Carolina Gliders went away for the win of the first in the series. It was the Gold Coast Tritons who finished second, and then San Diego Stingrays came third. Just the next day, further up the coast, it was the Boston Triathlon. And that was a 2K swim, a 35K bike and a 10K run. There was one athlete who did not hang around after his win as part of the Carolina Gliders. It was Ben Canute, who made the journey up the coast, and a very successful weekend it was for him because he took the win in the Boston Tri as well. And then on the women's side, it was Angela Neath, who's been recovering from Lyme's disease, who took the win on the women's side. Last week saw the first of 2 European Championships. This was a sprint distance held in Tartu in Estonia. There was age group racing, there was elite, and there was para-triathlon, so a lot to cover. Well, on the women's elite side, it was another win for Sophie Coldwell, coming off the back of that win at the World Cup in Hungary. And then on the men's side, it was Slovakian Richard Varga who took the win. Now, sadly, when it comes to the para-triathlon, there were 12 races, which is amazing, but it just means we haven't quite got time to cover all of those. But it was a very successful few days for the Great Britain team. They took 5 gold medals home with them. And then it was Spain and the Netherlands who took 2 golds as well. On to Xterra, and there are actually 2 Xterra races this weekend. We'll start off with Xterra Abruzzo in Italy, and it was Roger Serrano who took another win, his 3rd win of the season, backing up that win he got in Malta and in Cyprus. And on the women's side, it's Karina Vassler who was hoping to get another title herself, but due to a fall on the bike, which actually broke her rear brake, it meant that she had to, at some points, run down the hill behind her bike because it wasn't safe enough to ride. So she ended up finishing 2nd behind Eva Garcia Gonzalez, who got her first significant win since turning pro. Well, the other race was Xterra Beaver Creek, and the men's was pretty exciting. It looked like it was going to be a battle between Josiah Middow and Sam Long. They came into T2 together, set out on the run, and then it was Middow who made a move after a couple of miles. It looked like he might have it wrapped up, but Mauricio Mendez came from behind to overtake both of those athletes to take the overall win. It was Josiah Middow who finished in 2nd, and Sam Long had to settle for 3rd. Well, the women's race looked like it was going to be a tough battle because we had the defending champion from last year, Leslie Patterson, and the winner from the year before in 2016, Julie Baker, both on the start line. But coming off the back of a win at the ITU World Cross Championships, Leslie Patterson was too strong on the day. She took the overall win ahead of Julie Baker, who finished 2nd, and it was Cara Lapointe in 3rd. Right, it is time for the Caption Competition, your chance to win a GTN swim cap. And last week, we had this picture from the ITU team mixed relay where there were a lot of impressive flying dives. And we had a lot of suggestions along the lines of Jonathan Gunnison, who put the caption, head, shoulders, knees and toes, knees and toes. I won't sing the rest to you, but we had quite a few along those lines. Our next runner-up was from Vladimir Komlev, who suggested when you've mastered your flying mount, although I'm not quite sure what you're mounting mid-air in a swimsuit, but our winner this week, who's going to get their cap, is Stephen Reeves, who says, not exactly what the coach meant by aero tuck. Well, Stephen, get in touch and we will send this GTN cap out to you. Well, this week, you know the theme here. I'm on my own. I can't resist it. It's a picture of Mark. Well, as it is swim week, I thought it would be silly not to use this photo from some of the filming we did. Keep an eye out, this video is actually coming out very soon. And it's Mark, well, after he apparently tried to dive in, not sure what happened to his goggles, and looks like he needs a little bit of help. But I would love to know your caption suggestions. Do leave them in the comments section below. Right, in honour of Swim Week, we've got a new little feature here, and it is looking at your wonderful open water swimming photos. So to start us off, we've got this picture, a couple of pictures actually, from Rob Gundry. This first one is actually from a race, the Immortal at Stourhead, and beautiful blue skies. It looks like it's a lake swim, pretty stunning, similar to what we've got here today actually. This one from Denise Curry, it's Hamilton Lake in New Jersey at sunrise. Oh, that's beautiful. Well, I couldn't go through this section without sharing one of my photos. It was from a race, admittedly, again, but it was absolutely stunning. You probably remember me talking about it. It was from the Croyd Ocean Triathlon, and it's a wonderful drone shot just showing how still the water was. It was a sea swim, but you really wouldn't have known it. And I mean, I think it just means we have to come back to talk about this one as well, because this is actually where Mark and I do quite a lot of our training here at Bobster Key. And when it's like this, why wouldn't you want to? But we want to see where you train, where you race, any open water venues that you at the moment might be looking exceptionally nice if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. Maybe in the Southern Hemisphere, you can send us in a photo from when it was warm and sunny. But we're nosy here, as you know, and we want to see those beautiful pictures of where you might be with your friends, where you're doing your training now. Make sure you send them in. You can send them in over Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or at our email address. Just a quick reminder, if you want a chance to get your hands on these Continental Grand Prix TT tyres, all you have to do is click on the link in the description below for your chance to win your very own set. And if you're not feeling maybe quite so lucky, or you want to definitely get your hands on something from GTN, well, head to the shop, because we've got swim caps, we've got the GTN towels, we've got these lovely bright coloured t-shirts and more. So just click on the link for that. If you haven't yet done so and you want to make sure you get all of our videos, just hit the globe to subscribe. And as I said, this is swim week, hence why we're out on the water. So if you want to catch one of our videos from this swim week, we did one on the swimming front crawl catch, and that is just here.